How far would you go for love? In this story, we unravel how Hades, in his pursuit of love, created the seasons of the world. Hades is the oldest son of Kronos, god of the dead and the ruler of the underworld. He is the caretaker of souls, making sure they do not return to the world of the living, and punishing those that would try. He is often portrayed as an evil god. One day, Hades went to the world of the living, something he rarely did. He walked around the gardens of Olympus and stumbled upon the most beautiful goddess he had ever seen. Her name was Persephone. She's the daughter of Zeus, the god of lightning, and Demeter, the goddess of harvest. When Hades saw her, he hid behind a tree and admired her from a distance. Despite being the god of the underworld, in her presence, he would become shy. He returned many times, hiding to admire her over and over again, until he wanted more. He remembered a promise made by his brother, Zeus. So he went to him. "Zeus, my brother, I come to claim what is mine. You promised me one of your daughters as my wife. I choose Persephone." Zeus was shocked. "I know what I promised. Demeter will never allow it. How do you plan convincing her?" "Demeter loves her daughter so much, she always keeps an eye on her." So Zeus and Hades came up with a plan. Zeus asked his grandmother Gaia to grow a flower. Not just any normal flower, but an enchanting narcissus flower. One that no god would be able to resist, just outside the gardens of Olympus. A couple days passed by, and Zeus called for Demeter as he needed her help. Concerned she would be gone for too long, Demeter asked the nymphs to keep an eye on her daughter while she was away. That day, Persephone went for a stroll in the gardens of Olympus, with the nymphs keeping an eye on her. Scared of Demeter's wrath, they wouldn't let Persephone go too far. Suddenly, Persephone noticed the narcissus flower in the distance. She was hypnotized by its beauty and had to have it. She snuck away from the nymphs, telling herself, "It will only take a second. I will grab the flower and immediately return to the nymphs." As she was about to grab it, the ground broke open and a chariot with Hades came out. Before anyone noticed, he grabbed her and pulled her into the underworld with him. As they disappeared, the ground closed up immediately. There was no trace left of Persephone. When Demeter returned home, she called out for her daughter. There was no response. Demeter looked all around Mount Olympus, but Persephone was nowhere to be found. She ran towards the nymphs, grabbing them desperately. "Where's my daughter?" They answered, We lost her." Demeter was furious. "I gave you one task, and that was to watch over my daughter, and now she's gone." Angry with the nymphs, she changed them from their elegant form to winged creatures with scales on their bodies. They were transformed into beings now known as the Sirens. Demeter looked endlessly for her daughter, traveling from one end of the world to the other, neglecting her duties as the goddess of harvest. During this time, plants withered, animals died, and humanity was experiencing hunger. The humans prayed to all the gods for help, but none of their prayers reached Demeter. Zeus, however, heard their prayers. He knew that humanity was suffering and that he had to do something, or everyone and everything would die. So he sent his son Hermes to the underworld to retrieve Persephone. Hermes was one of the few gods that would travel regularly from the world of the living to the underworld. His job was to guide the souls to their final resting place. When Hermes arrived in the underworld, he expected to see Persephone sad. Instead, he saw her smiling and happy next to Hades. During her time in the underworld, Hades had built beautiful gardens for Persephone. He treated her with compassion and respect, and they quickly fell in love. Hermes explained why he had come to them. "Hades, Zeus wants me to bring Persephone back to the world of the living. Demeter is grieving because of the loss of her daughter. She's neglecting all her duties as the goddess of harvest, and humanity is suffering." Persephone, conflicted, had to make a decision. Did she want to stay by the side of the man she fell in love with, or would she return to her mother? She decided to go to the world of the living and make her decision there. Hades was terrified of losing her, and he decided to trick her. "Persephone, my love, on your journey back to the world of the living, take these 6 pomegranate seeds. They will fill your belly on this long journey." So she took them. When Persephone arrived back in Olympus, her mother ran towards her, hugging her and not letting her go. Persephone looked into her mother's eyes and said, "Mother, I am happy besides Hades. He's kind to me, and I want to go back to the underworld." Demeter was furious and suspected that Hades had tricked her daughter. "I will not allow this. You will stay in Olympus by my side." Persephone, not knowing what to do, started crying. Demeter looked at her and noticed something was wrong. She frantically asked her, "Did you eat anything from the underworld? If you eat fruit from there, you have to return." She answered, "Yes, mother, I did. 6 pomegranate seeds." Zeus, worried about not fulfilling his promise to Hades and worried about Demeter not fulfilling her duties as the goddess of harvest, came up with a compromise. "It's decided. Because she ate 6 pomegranate seeds for 6 months of the year, Persephone will stay with Hades. For the remaining 6, she will be back in Olympus." It was a compromise that Demeter reluctantly accepted. Persephone returned to the underworld with Hermes, where she lived happily with her husband as his equal. So there you have it. That is how Hades and Persephone fell in love and ended up together. For the 6 months of the year when Persephone is with her husband Hades, Demeter is grieving. Her grief impacts the world of the humans, causing darker days and chilly winters. When Persephone returns, so does Demeter's happiness, creating life, warmth, and sunshine in the world of the humans. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like and subscribe so I can continue putting stories out there.